Be the Change Challenge. This is day 2 of my video response to a challenge in Shannon Green's JB5's Facebook group. I call day 2's technique, Are You Listening to Your Muse? We will slow down, study, or analyze the page for elements that drew us to the text of the page we chose to add on day 1.
This is day 2 of my JB5 pages. I'm ready to do the second technique. On day 1, all I said was choose a page out of for your JB5 journal. You may use whatever you're using for your JB5s, so I'm just using the loose page out of this composition book, and I'm going to put this page in another journal. And then I said choose a text, some text page. I chose out of this old library book that I got at a library sale. It was falling apart anyway. This is all about costuming. And I chose the page out of chapter 12 about the pocket, and Lucy Lockett lost her pocket. I encouraged you to put the text page, whatever you chose for text, down on your journaling page. Now you could have torn it, ripped it up, used it as is like I did. I made mine very plain and simple. I just put the page kind of in the center of my journaling page. That's all I did to it. On day 2, I want you to analyze what you did on day 1. Oh, there's that scary word, analysis. It's not that scary. It's just looking at the page and think to yourself, why did I choose what I chose yesterday? What was it about this that caught my attention? In my case, I think it was the nursery rhyme. So I'm going to take this is a blue Stabilo. Stabilo is water soluble, and it's blue, so I can highlight what caught my attention. Lucy Lockett lost her pocket. I'm just going to get a brush here and highlight that. And that's all I want you to do is look at your page, do a little bit of thinking about it. Not hard thinking where this is not a hard task, but ask yourself, what was it about this page that caught my attention? What do I want to do with it? And this page itself is a very interesting page. It gives me a lot of information. It's talking about detached pockets of the child we call our milk girl. She was the daughter of a farmer who provided the folk of our neighborhood with milk. Don't you kind of see this little girl with a pocket and milk? You know, we think of our milk coming in a carton, but back in the day, not my day, the day before me, they delivered probably milk in pails. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at that. But I think of a little girl holding a pail, but she's got a pocket. And it tells about the pocket. But first, it gives her name. Her name was Apolline, Apolline. So that name interests me. Apolline. So I'm just going to highlight and just kind of draw it out just very faintly, Apolline, and our milk girl, daughter of a farmer. So I've just very lightly said, this is what interests me about the page. But it tells her more about Apolline. But she's telling about the brilliant beauty of Apolline and of her more brilliant mind. So this is just a little milkmaid who has called Apolline, who has a brilliant mind. And then she gets into talking about the pocket. She wore by her side, strongly fastened with tapes to a belt wrought in crewel work. Now, you that know needlework know what crewel work is. A pocket of a strong figured chintz worked with silk. Chintz and silk. And in the highlights of the flowers. Chintz, silk, and flowers on a milkmaid girl who's with a brilliant mind. See everything that's on this page? Look at your page. What was it on your page? Maybe you just tore an advertisement out of there. But what about that advertisement attracted you? Was it the shape? Was it the text, the typography of the words? Highlight that. That's your day 2 task. Just maybe with some watercolor. This is water soluble. You can probably remove it to some extent. I'm going to leave mine. She wore by her side of the seat. And then, oh look, it's even more. It's telling what's inside of that pocket. It contained very nearly, perhaps fully, a peck of country goodies such as apples, pears, checkerberries, pippins, the young tender leaves of a chokerberry plant. So it tells you what pippins are, the young tender leaves of the chokerberry plant. Well, what's a chokerberry plant? Popcorn, nuts, sweet flagroot, sassafras bark, slipberry, elm bark, wild ginger, and its contents were a constant surprise and delight, such as a pocket should be. Contents were a constant surprise and delight. I like that phrase. I chose 3 things: the nursery rhyme, the milk girl, her name was Pauline, she had a brilliant mind, and she wore this pocket that had all sorts of things in it, and the contents were a constant surprise and delight. So those are 3 things on this page, this text that I chose, that was of interest to me. Subconsciously, I think those things were speaking to me, but I really wasn't aware of it yet. So look at your page. What about that page might be talking to your subconscious? And you don't have to do a lot of psychoanalysis here. Just look at the page, say, what about this page do I find interesting? And then highlight it in some fashion. I use my blue Stabilo and my watercolor brush. I'm going to do one more thing. When I put this page down yesterday, I said I put it in the center of the page in a very geometric fashion. This is not something I typically do on my journal pages. Usually I rip and tear, and even though this is in a very distressed format, it's still in this very geometric fashion, I call it. It's nothing like torn segment here and torn there and torn there. So I am just going to take my pen or my Stabilo pencil and outline how I set that page down on my journal page yesterday. And I want you to do that. If you ripped and tore little pieces, I want you to outline each one of those little pieces in some fashion. And then in my case, I'm going to take my watercolor pencil, my watercolor brush. This is Stabilo. It's water soluble, and I'm just going to come here and outline however I set that page down on the journal page. So that's your day 2 technique. Look at your page, analyze it. That scary word, analysis. Ask yourself, for the left brain people, it is analysis. I'm going to study this page. For the right brain people, it's look at this page and try to figure out what it was that attracted me to this page subconsciously. What was it that I found interesting about the page? So that's all there is to day 2. This is where the page is. It's day 2. But look, I see an interesting journal page taking place. What shall I do for day 3? I'm trying to make each one of my techniques different in some sort of a fashion than the traditional JB5 techniques, which were paint, stamp or stencil, words, focal image, and pen and pencil, and then free play. So my day 1 was choose a journal page, choose a text page, and put it down on your page. Day 2 is ask yourself, analyze the page, ask yourself, what was it about this page, whatever I chose, what was it that interested me about it, and highlight them, and also highlight how you set that page down on the journal page. In my case, I just highlighted around the text of my page. So that's day 2. I will see you on day 3.